everybody. Man, at the very last seconds, I remembered that I had not selected the right microphone, so we got to select it right. Wow. Oh, I'm listening to myself in a loop. Hang on. Where am I? I have to find it now. Okay, there it is. All right, sorry about that. We are professional. This is episode 349 of This Week in Real Estate, hosted by yours truly. My name is Ray. I'm a bearded man of real estate. We're going to talk about the $1 million home giveaway, $1 million house hunt. Anyway, we're going to talk about that today and the realities of the $1 million house hunt, given the affordability crisis. We're also going to talk about Compass. There's some big news with the Compass Zillow. We're going to dive into that. We're going to be talking about a ton of economic news. So we're going to be talking about jobs. I'm going to get to that article that I didn't get to last week that talked about the couple that was defrauding people in Texas. We have some real estate agents making questionable deals that SCAP sent us, so we'll talk about those questionable deals. But we've got a lot to cover today. Thank you so much for joining. If you're joining on YouTube, you can comment. I can display your comment just like Matt did, who said, here first, Big O. And then Scamp said, Big O, no comments. Olivier's big sexy. Oh, that is Big Olivier. Elizabeth Nightingale's also here. She says, howdy. She said, I've missed you guys. First time I've been able to listen live in a while. Well, welcome back, Elizabeth. I'm glad you're here. I did want to update everyone on Linda. She was appreciative that last week we didn't have as much music. And she did say, for those of you questioning the ADHD, she said it was only certain songs. She said there were some songs that we play that she can't listen around. So if you hear any of those songs, Linda, you just let me know. I'm happy to edit and to play some different song choices for you guys that want them out there. You can also comment if you're watching on Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I can display your comments on everything except Instagram. I can't display your comment there, but I can give you a shout out. Let's see, just like Kathy Gunnerman that joined over there. What's up, Kathy? Rhett, I see you over there. Elliot, he just logged on over there on Instagram, so I can give you a shout out that way. But you can comment. I can read your comment to everybody. So thanks everyone for joining. I'm going to jump right into it because, we got a little bit of a late start today. I was actually researching some of these articles and then realized it was 12 o'clock. So I was like, dang, I gotta get this stuff out there. So that's why we were running a little bit late today. So let's get to it. First up, the judge rejects the Compass bid to block Zillow's private listing ban. So to bring you up to speed on this, Compass said, hey guys, we're going to come out with this private listing network, for lack of a better term, where we're going to have these listings available, and we want other agents in the marketplace to know about these listings, but these are listings that the seller does not want to be on Zillow. They don't want to be marketed on some other kind of website or anything like that. So because they don't want to be on Zillow, we're not going to put them on Zillow, but we do want to share them with other agents in the marketplace using a private listing network. They also said that they were going to have a book that you could go buy a Compass office and you could view the book of private listings that they held. And anyone can do that, from a consumer to another agent in the marketplace. Well, Zillow did not like that because that limits the inventory that's currently on Zillow's website. So Zillow said, hey, if you do that, we're going to block your listings from appearing on Zillow. And Compass said, no, you can't do that, and is trying to sue Zillow. As part of that, they're trying to put an injunction on that behavior. So they're trying to say, hey, until this is actually settled, we don't want Zillow to be able to behave that way against us. Compass is also having the same type of argument with the NWMLS. I think it's the Northwest MLS, but it's up in the Northwest. They're having the same type of argument with that MLS as well, where that MLS is saying, hey, we're gonna pull all of your listings. They essentially lost that. I don't think there's a larger lawsuit, but they were not able to pull all of Compass's listings. So Compass's listings are still there. So this article says, a February 6th ruling, the court denied Compass's preliminary injunction that would have paused Zillow's listing access standards. The judge noted that Compass didn't have enough evidence to show real competitive harm, credible evidence of collusion, or a strong likelihood of winning its monopoly claims. That is a blow. That's basically saying, hey, we're leaning to how about no? So that doesn't look very good for Compass starting out. But it also tells them, I mean, these are the things they got to work on, right? What's the real competitive harm? Now, I also find it interesting that Zillow's point is, hey, you have to put the listings on our website or else the exposure of those properties would be harmed. Is the judge saying I don't find any competitive harm, saying actually it doesn't matter that much, Zillow? That's kind of the other side of that coin too. It says, for now, Zillow's policy stays in place and Compass's broader lawsuit continues on a much steeper legal hill. The decision lands in the middle of a growing industry fight over private listings, MLS exposure, and who ultimately controls the homes homes reach buyers online. How homes reach buyers online. So yeah, the court found no evidence of collusion or monopoly power. The heart of the ruling came down to evidence. Now this is just an initial ruling on the injunction. More may be proven in court, obviously, but just the initial injunction is like, hey, I don't want them to do that until all this is settled. Compass shown as a likelihood of success on the merits, Vargas wrote in her decision, cutting straight to the standard that governs emergency injunctions. The court found no proof that Zillow had entered into any anti-competitive agreement with Redfin, brushing aside claims of a behind-the-scenes conspiracy as speculative. The judge was equally unconvinced by Compass's monopoly argument, even with the estimates suggesting Zillow controls as much as 50 to 66% of the online listings market. Vargas noted that brokers still have plenty of other ways to market homes to reach buyers. So there it is. It's basically the legal standard is what the article says is the reason why it survived. So it does not look like, I mean, companies can still use their three-phase marketing strategy, but those properties that they use that three-phase marketing strategy on can be banned from Zillow. And we've spoken about this before. The irony of all of this is that the reason why Zillow says the private listing network hurts consumers is because they don't have any other choices. They can't see the properties, so it limits the number of properties a buyer can see. So Zillow's response to that is, we're going to take your listings and we're going to make them to where they can never be seen by those buyers. And that just doesn't make sense. Logically, saying that we want buyers to have the ultimate choice, and so therefore, and the ultimate, menu of opportunities available. So therefore, we are not going to publish your listings to our buyers. That on its face sounds ridiculous. It is ridiculous. You can't have both. Either you want everyone to see everything and so you publish everything, or you don't want everyone to see everything and it's more about the money. I really thought that going into this, they would win it. I thought they would get the preliminary injunction, and I thought there would be some hand slapped, but that does not sound like it's happened. A part of me,
the intersection of business interest and a consumer product represented by another party being the industry and us.
Say the first part of what you said again, Jack. I didn't hear it.
The intersection of really a business model and sort of, a consumer driven product.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's what I mean, but it feels like Compass is trying to leverage better business for them. It feels, when you're hoarding inventory for the best interest of the business model, and likely not best interest of the consumer if it's not presented properly, which brings us full circle back to the national disclosure statement.
Yeah. If you're wondering what he's talking about, the national disclosure statement, we talked about this last week. saying that there should probably be something out there that says, hey, you're electing to go into a private listing network, and if you do, this is what happens. And in our opinion, it would have to be something that doesn't say that it's good or bad. It would just have to say this is what it is. Does that make sense? Like you can't say going into the private listing network is a bad thing, because it may be really good for you as a seller, and it might actually help. We've had, I talked about this last week, we've had listings sell off market that sold way higher than I thought they ever would had they been actually listed for sale in the public marketplace, because it was the fear of them being listed that made the buyer put in a ridiculous offer. They put in an offer they should not have put in, but I represented the seller, so hey, it's good for us. So, yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, is it really for the people or not? I don't know. I think there's a lot of politics being played, so we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and get to this next story too, because it's also about Compass. And I didn't cover this last year, even though several of you sent this, including Matt LaMarche. But you're like, hey, did you know this happened? Yes, but I didn't really cover it because I thought it's not that much of a news story. I anticipated it, but anywhere leadership changes begin after Compass deal closes. There was some pretty wild takes online about this, but it kind of just made sense. If you have two companies that come together in a merger, then you don't need two CEOs. One of those CEOs is going to go away. One of those CTOs is going to go away. One of those COOs. So there's going to be a bunch of leadership changes in any merger. If you've ever worked mergers and acquisitions, that is not unfamiliar. And usually people stay on for the transition and then leave. Sometimes they leave right before the transition, but most of the time the deal includes some requirements for them to stay. So I was not surprised or shocked. Ryan Schneider, who stepped into the role of Anywhere CEO in December of 2017, exited the company following the acquisition by Compass. While there was no public announcement, Schneider's update on LinkedIn profile now reflects the end date of January 2026. No public announcement, but he just updated his LinkedIn profile. Isn't that funny? And he does have a little summary of, what he did at that job as if it is a resume. So delivered exceptional shareholder returns, leading a merger that expanded the equity value from $3.11 to 17.64 per share in 12 months. Negotiated $13.50 per share price when trading at $7.07. So he's even bragging about, what ended up being his way out. But yeah, that's interesting.
Obviously, you never worked at Dunder Mifflin where they had two managers. So, I mean,
that's true. That's true.
One plus one is still one.
That's so true. Executive changes following the merger. Schneider was not the only senior executive to leave. Anywhere's chief technology officer, Rudy Wolfs, also departed the company. Compass had acknowledged both exits occurred under the terms outlined in the merger agreement. That was not unfamiliar. And they knew, both of those knew after going through with the merger, that would be it for them. A lot of times they'll keep them on for 6 months or something like that, but I guess they need to make a clean break. Some of the bigger companies will make a faster, cleaner break. Some of the smaller companies, you keep the old guy on for 3 to 6 months. Compass has not shared specifics about the executive severance. I'm sure it's pretty great. The Compass Anywhere acquisition itself moves faster than originally expected. Compass initially projected a later close, but after clearing antitrust review and receiving shareholder approval, the transaction was finalized in January. That's quick. That's quick. But again, I really didn't think it was that much news, as Compass naming Neda Navab. I don't know how to say her name. Neda, Neda Navab. That's the new president. I'll learn how to say her name. She holds an MBA from Harvard Business Schools, worked for Compass since 2018. Coming to the company as CEO Robert Refkin's chief of staff. So chief of staff promoted now as president of Compass. And I did think of this article says, in a late night LinkedIn post, Compass International Holdings CEO Robert Refkin. So late night, according to where though? If it's an international company, what are we, when's late night? You know, it's early somewhere else, but I guess late night in the US. She said, I'm proud to, or he said, I'm proud to announce that Neda Navab, or Navab, has been named the president of Compass Real Estate. In this role, Neda will focus exclusively on leading and supporting our Compass real estate professionals nationwide and helping them achieve their full entrepreneurial potential. Please join me in congratulating Neda as she leads Compass in this next chapter. There you go. All things that, yeah, we thought would happen. She played a significant role in Compass's mergers and acquisitions, guiding the firm's integration of business across several markets, including its integrations of VAT Properties, Christie's, International Real Estate, and Anywhere. So sounds like a good choice. Next up, let's talk about Redfin. Redfin's Super Bowl commercial has been there's a lot of banter online, but also ironically, I see people not talking about it who I thought would definitely be talking about it. And I think they're not talking about it because they were trying to win it. They didn't want anyone to know. Okay, so this is what happened. Redfin has a Super Bowl commercial. And then later we find out that Redfin hid clues in the Super Bowl commercial for a contest to find a $1 million home. It says Redfin spices up Super Bowl Sunday with a $1 million home hunt. The Super Bowl 60 adjacent game will prompt Redfin app users with 6 clues starting at 8 p.m. on Sunday to locate and win a $1 million home featured in a Rocket Redfin commercial. All right. It's dubbed the Great American Home Search. The game will kick off at 8, right after the Rocket and Redfin spot airs during the Super Bowl. For the ensuing 48 hours, Redfin will release 6 app-exclusive prompts to guide players to the $1 million home displayed on the commercial. Players will need to use the Redfin app search tools and filters to solve clues and locate the home. The first eligible participant to solve the clues will identify the home, will win a house valued in excess of $1 million. That includes basic furnishings as well as additional cash in the amount of $700,000 to help cover the income and property taxes, which and insurance. I thought that was a nice touch. Not only are they giving you a home, but they're also giving you the money to pay for the home, the taxes and insurance and such. Because we saw like a lot of people on the Move That Bus show. And then like in 2 or 3 years, they were back in a bad spot because they couldn't afford to maintain the home. So Redfin thought of that. Good move, Redfin, on that. Here's the Great American Home Search logo. And the idea stemmed from the desire to engage consumers with Redfin beyond passively watching the ad. The company partnered with GeoGuessr content creator Trevor Rainbolt to create the game's clues. Now, this was fun for me because I had the thought, $1 million. That sounds like a nice house. But really, it kind of depends on where, doesn't it? Some of you guys know $1 million doesn't really get you much in some parts of the country. Hence, this week's thumbnail. The thumbnail is, for the audio listeners, Trevor Rainbolt's shock and horror. And it's got his normal smiley face with a yikes face, as he realizes what $1 million gets you in San Jose and what $1 million gets you in Manhattan. And you can see the little golden houses I put in California. I was real proud of this. This is a really fun thumbnail for me. So there you go. Trevor Rainbolt, super disappointed that the $1 million house is a small 1-bedroom apartment in New York. Can y'all imagine? Like you win the $1 million. And you're like, oh man. I read the official rules and you can't sell the house. You have to keep the house for at least a year. And then after a year, you can sell it. If you want to sell it before that, there has to be some kind of extenuating circumstance. You have to write a letter to the sponsor, which is, I guess, Redfin Rocket, and they get first right of refusal to purchase it from you. So they have to check out. There's also all kinds of other rules. And if you didn't read the rules, you probably think you won, but you did not win. There are rules in there about how to do it, what to do, what's required to win. So I'm really curious if somebody actually has won, if they actually won. So the Great American Home Search was conceived as a way to build on a Rocket Redfin big game teaser that features Lady Gaga singing Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood song with Won't You Be My Neighbor. The ad spot was meant to highlight the neighborliness. Man, why can't I read today? The neighborliness as a modern and perhaps overlooked civic value today. The game's also meant to inspire confidence and hope in American best. Now, the ad was great. My only question about the ad is I kind of felt like hiding clues in such a moving ad detracted in a way from the actual commercial. Did anyone else like, I don't know. It kind of struck me as like oh, that's interesting. I wish they would have done like a Great American Home ad separate from the really moving and meaningful one. Because I thought the moving and meaningful one was great until I realized they were using it as a contest. And then I don't know, something about it. I was like, maybe you guys can help me piece that together. Or maybe I'm just crazy and I'm wrong in that. What's up, Leighton? Leighton says, yo, dude's up. It kind of just struck me weird.
Yeah. So to play a little bit of devil's advocate, we are talking about it.
Yeah.
Now, this is a real estate show where we're talking about Redfin and Rocket, but the niche is the niche. Yeah, I mean, I'll stick by my earlier point before we got on the air. Shout out to the Clubhouse.
Shout out to the Clubhouse pre-show.
Yeah. You gotta. Some shows have a post show. We have a pre-show, but
that's right.
But I think get people talking about it and then attach the contest to it. I agree with you. I like the ad a lot, and
yeah.
To be honest with you, there weren't a couple. You and I were DMing back and forth. There weren't a lot of great ads, in my opinion, but this was one of the better ones. But I understand your position, your perspective on it.
I love creating like moving and meaningful pieces. I've got a couple even on my Instagram that I really like it. Something that means a lot to you, and then you pour a lot into it, and you just create a really good ad. I thought that was great. But it just made it a little more shallow to me that it's a contest. I wish they would have created a second ad as the competition and maybe reference this in some way. But you could have done a lot of things with very popular people or whatever running after the home or trying to find the home. Great American Home Search that'd be funny. Like maybe characters or people that were known for searching or investigators or whatever, and having Rainbolt in it. The first I heard about the contest was actually a post by Rainbolt that said they hit it. Let me see if I can find that. Here it is. Okay. I think I'm sharing. Y'all let me know if y'all don't hear Rainbolt in just a second. Let me share this. All right.
We hid a $1 million home, and the first person to find it wins it. You have about 48 hours. Redfin and I hid clues in their big game commercial. Download or update the Redfin app, and the first person to solve all 6 clues and find the $1 million home wins it. The Great American Home Search starts now. And no, you can't tag me for help. We hid a
and no, you can't tag me for help. I'm sure a lot of people did. So here's what the ad is. And I'll just play it. I'll talk a little bit about it because it's already been played on YouTube before. So if I don't say anything about it, we'll get a strike. I don't want to strike. Hang on just a second. I gotta share this tab instead. Okay, here it is. Okay. So it kind of looks like a Mr. Rogers start, by the way. They have the what is that called? The tilt shift effect on. So this little neighborhood looks like a Mr. Rogers small neighborhood. It's great. Really good visual effect. Somebody looking for a house, teen girl does not want to leave. She's leaving her friends behind. And then apparently, so this is also kind of, it's kind of interesting to me. Like if you go from this, you're seeing like a lot of minority kids running after the car that are her friends, presumably. And I mean, for lack of a better word, I guess she's moving into the white neighborhood. Like that part, I was like, well, okay, whatever. I see what they're trying to say, but okay. So here it is. So, and she waves, this other girl waves, and people don't pay attention to her. The dog barks at the new kid on the block.
Big storm coming in.
And then you have these neighbors that, like, one guy's like, big storm coming in. And then you have the white dude with the American flag and the truck not talking to the guy that's brown. Okay. There's a storm. Dog runs outside, gets lost. Trees are down. Girl's searching for her dog. And then the minority girl finds the dog and gives her to the white girl, and they're hugging. I mean, it's great. It's a moving, yes, I'm for all peoples, obviously, but it's, it's also kind of trite. It's fine. And then you have the Hispanic guy, brown guy, cutting a tree in front of the white guy. I guess white. It's white presenting. And then he smiles at his neighbor, and then you have people waving, helping each other out, which is great. So it's fine. Interesting how they did it. And then they said, by the way, there's clues in this. There's clues in this to find $1 million home. Okay. I mean, it was a great ad. It was a meaningful ad, but it was just interesting. I didn't play the Redfin game because I was curious, what it was going to be. I didn't even have the Redfin app downloaded. But by the time I even started to check it out, I saw this post by Redfin. So let me share this tab instead. Oh, you can't hear it.
Hey everybody, I'm Jonathan Mildenhall, Chief Marketing Officer at Redfin. I've just come out of the control room for the Great American Home Search. I'm so excited to announce that the home has been found. Now we're going to notify the winner soon, so if you've already solved 6 clues, locked in your home selection for the winning home, please stay close to your phone and email. To all the neighbors who've been actively engaging in conversations about the Great American Home Search across platforms like Reddit, YouTube, and Instagram, we see you. We love.
So it's already over. You have one of the top. Oops, actually that's Razorbacks. Ooh, I'm trying to stop. Okay, you have Dakota Kristen Carter, who said, "Who else locked in the home within 5 minutes after solving the 6 clues released?" And there's only 5 replies. So let's see. On the official rules, if you go to the Great American Home Search or whatever, there's actually a link that they give you to check out who won. And I did check that out, and no one is listed as the winner yet. So there's like a little link that says the winners will be listed here, and there's no winner. So I don't know. I thought it was as far as Super Bowl ads go, I really liked the ad itself. I thought it was a real pretty picture of, a neighborhood and being neighborly. I didn't like some of it. I get, as a white guy, I get tired of making the white guy look bad. They could have done some other ways, but it's fine. I get what they're trying to do in the overall scheme. But it did cheapen it a bit when they put the search for it. It's okay. It's fine. I think, what I think the best ad was? The karaoke ad. But I only saw the karaoke ad once, so I feel like they missed it. By the time people realized what was happening, especially at Super Bowl parties and stuff, that it was karaoke and people were singing along, I don't think as many people as they'd hoped had the cameras out, right? Filming the karaoke that was happening. I feel like they should have had, like, the next commercial break, they should have done it again. with a similar song or, you know, something from the 80s or 90s that a lot of people know. And if they played a sound at the beginning of the commercial, and then they had the commercial karaoke for Coinbase, and then the next time they did it, they played that sound again, people would hear that sound and know like, hey, this is karaoke, and everyone would participate. And then I think that when they did the second one, they would have gotten a lot more push because people would have videoed, you know, people at their party singing along. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. I only saw it once.
Dunkin' Donuts is usually a favorite of mine, but man, was this one creepy.
It was creepy. I heard a lot of people liked the Dunkin' Donuts one still.
The whole AI thing was just weird.
Okay. I need to go back and watch all the commercials. I usually just mute the commercials because I can't trust them. And yeah, when you got little kids watching, you got to be careful. So I usually go back and watch the list of commercials. No, it's actually a huge. I'm glad you brought that up. We actually have to move on. There is a ton of news today. It's a lot of economic news, but this is really interesting. Real estate agents from major brokerages arranged questionable property deals around Temple University. More than 24 Philadelphia real estate professionals helped arrange $45 million worth of questionable deals around Temple University, in which student rentals had sat on the market for months, abruptly sold for about double their asking price. An Inquirer investigation has found. In 52 settled or still pending sales over roughly the last year, apartment buildings were listed for sale at an average price of $450,000, but found no takers. Within days of being relisted for a higher price, the same properties sold for as much as $905,000, at least on paper, to buyers who took out mortgages that far exceeded the original asking price. 8 sellers or their agents now say they entered into the deals with the understanding that they would actually receive close to the original asking price, not the much higher amount that was officially listed on the deeds and other public records. And an appraiser said, SCAP, that the real estate agents on both sides of the proposed deal tried to pressure him to raise the valuation of the property. The sales have raised some concerns about possible mortgage fraud around Temple, which led to a spate of foreclosures and affect property. Well, yeah, it's just going to be really bad. Solomon Weisenberg, former U.S. attorney in North Carolina and Texas who specialized in white-collar crime and bank fraud, said the people involved in the deal could face scrutiny from criminal investigators. Scrutiny? There's just scrutiny? That's all they're going to face? He said, I don't know any fraud prosecutor who wouldn't be interested in looking at that. Weisenberg said, settlement statements have to reflect reality. If you don't present the accurate picture to the financial institution that is financing the loan, you've got problems. So watch out now. They'll face scrutiny. Coldwell Banker cut ties with Faye in December, hours after the Inquirer published the story. Oh, I guess that was, hang on, let me go up here. Patrick C. Faye, a real estate agent in Coldwell Banker's Old City office, was involved in every deal, representing at least 7 buyers who purchased the properties through limited liability companies. One of those buyers had been convicted of an earlier mortgage fraud scheme. Oh my goodness. Okay. Coldwell Banker cut ties with Faye in December, hours after the Inquirer published the story concerning 33 of his deals around Temple, but Faye had a counterpart on the other side of every transaction. They included agents at major brokerages such as Keller Williams, Long & Foster, and EXP, as well as 3 agents who worked with the same Coldwell office as Faye, helped him close 13 deals. He says these claims are without merit. Let's see. Faye, who is one of the top agents of Coldwell Banker, has denied wrongdoing. He declined to discuss specific sales. He said, in my over 20 years of real estate, I've maintained an unblemished record with no ethical violations or complaints filed against me. These claims are without merit. The Temple University.
Some level of
go ahead.
Doesn't some level of conscience kick in? You know, way before you get to 33 deals.
It doesn't sound like it. But you know, he also said they're without merit, so maybe they were meritless. You know, it's allegedly until, you know, innocent until proven guilty, right?
Whenever a statement starts with your number of years in the business, you need to be skeptical.
Oh man, the stories I could tell about a deal I just closed with a lady that was like, I've been doing this 20 years. I'm like, yeah, me too. She was like, what? So funny. Speaking of doing this 20 years and speaking of fraud, we get a lot of fraud in the real estate happening right now. There's a Texas couple that was labeled a fake Chip and Joanna Gaines. Uh-oh. They admit to $5 million dream home renovation scam. Their names are Christopher and Raquel Judge. Now, they did admit to this, so I thought that was interesting. They defrauded over 40. Was it say over 40 victims across 6 counties? Interesting that 40 victims across 6 counties and it's only 5 million. What is that per 5 million divided by 40, 125,000 each? Then it's not a dream home renovation, I guess. Right? I mean, you'd think like dream home renovation is going to be big. That doesn't sound like dream home renovation. Texas couple has pled guilty to federal charges after prosecutors revealed they used social media to defraud dozens of homeowners out of nearly 5 million under the guise of custom home renovations. The pair billed themselves as a one-stop shop for custom architecture, interior design, and construction services, luring customers through social media to advertise their business while falsely claiming Christopher was an experienced architect. I have a video. I want to play this video. Kind of similarly, I have to talk over the video a little bit because if I don't talk over the video, then the YouTube people don't like it. So here we go. Do they not look 12? Am I the only one seeing these folks that are like that? I hate to be like the old guy in the room, but dadgum, they look so young. Okay. A contemporary floor plan that comes with all the latest features. Uh-oh. So for the audio listeners, they were showing the best parts of the house, and now they're showing repairs that people had to do immediately after they moved in. Like a pipe leaking just right out the front, the wall coming apart, the water not shutting off. Wait, I didn't even know that's how you turn on water. That's not how you're supposed to turn on water, is it? Maybe it was maybe it's the garbage disposal, the little button that's by the sink. That's for a garbage disposal, right? Maybe that's what she's saying won't turn off. Wow, that's just really bad. So they're just showing like paint that's just like coming off of trim and just a hole with no vent. Uh-oh. Now, this is part of the issue I have, right? So they hired this young couple to help build their dream home. Watch. Just keep watching. You'll see. You'll see my issue with this. It was the disposal, Matt says. So look how this is. So there's just showing like half-built homes with everything is shaky and bad for the audio listeners. This is the one that I have the issue with. They paid $200,000 to remodel. Now that is okay. So what they're showing now is a piece of the wall that's opened up and there's like trash and stuff in the wall. I have seen that a lot because like it just adds insulation. So but it's like a little water bottle or a PVC pipe. It's like builder materials that are just left in the wall. I think that's a wall. All right. Okay, this guy is talking about that. He's got like a streamer set up in his office. Look at this. Look at all the lights. This is fancier than my streamer setup. He's got various colors of green triangle shades on the back wall. He's got shelving set up with lights around it. I mean, he's got kind of a nice. Matt Vlar said, "Yeah, builders and contractors are like trash bandits." Yeah, that's true.
They screwed over a lot of people to get up to $5 million.
Yeah, well, that's what. All right, look at this. They really didn't do that much per. Like his was a $250,000 remodel. They said 40 people, $5 million. That's only $125,000 per. But look at this trim, how it's just like pulling off of the wall. That's crazy. I don't even understand the problem that would cause that issue. So that's my problem. Do you hear that? Listen to this. He has a family friend that's a contractor that he did not use. People, get more than one opinion. He's got a family friend that's a contractor, and he didn't bother that guy. Call your family friends. Now that's not in the wall. That's just trash. And plastic surgery. Oh my goodness. What'd they use it on? Sorry. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, we're all kind of judgy, right? If you say plastic surgery, I mean, what did they use it on? Oh my goodness. Matt says, I wonder what he had done. Yeah, there you go. All right, here's the red flags. If they require cash or payment in full before they start. Guys, don't do that. The price is much lower. I don't know. I've got some guys that won't overcharge you to do a great job. But yeah, get more than one opinion for sure. Matt says that's a garbage disposal. Yes, we got it. All right, so there you go. Be careful, guys. Oh, where's it go? Hang on. All right, there you go. Sorry. Had stuff autoplay into the background. Matt said 30-30-30 or 50-50 as a prior contractor. That's normal. Yeah. Yeah. Or you get the like a bank draw. It's usually what happens. He said definitely veneers. It could have been, 100%. I guess. It could have been veneers.
Oh, dude's got veneers, yeah.
I mean, I don't see much evidence of plastic surgery. I'm just saying.
It's not just plastic surgery. It's when you put plastic surgery behind ill-gotten gains that really sort of puts the icing on the cake.
Are they gonna repo that plastic surgery one day? Is somebody gonna come after that if they don't continue to make the payments on it?
There's nothing altruistic like putting your kids through school or something like that.
Yeah, not even that. Or it's not like, hey, we had to really pay our house. You know, they're poor and they just had to pay their own mortgage or something. No, nothing like that. It's plastic surgery. That's crazy. All right, so let's go to the econ news. We've got some today. U.S. payrolls came in way better than anticipated. Oops. Oh, I accidentally unshared my screen whenever we had that autoplay. One moment, please. Here we are. Here's the jobs report. So U.S. payrolls rose by 130,000 in January. That's more than expected. Unemployment went down to 4.3. We also saw incomes go up again. So the unemployment edged lower to 4.3%. A more encompassing measure slipped to 8%, down 0.4%. Interesting that the government jobs decreased by 42,000, while let's see, labor market healthcare led gains in December, added 82,000 positions. Social assistance rose 42,000. And construction added 33,000. Some of this does make me wonder a little bit about the whole immigration situation. If you have several million people self-deporting, which that's what they've announced. They've announced, I think it was 1 or 2 million people self-deporting, and they are part of a labor force. And part of that labor force is construction. I wonder if these 33,000 jobs or replacement jobs that are actually now on the books that were previously not on the books. Does kind of make you wonder about that kind of stuff. The Bureau of Labor Statistics also released a final benchmark revision for the year prior to March. So this is why, so this 130,000 for January, a lot of people are saying don't trust it, because when you look at the revision from 2025, it went down like 400,000 jobs. Okay, previously in the previous, I think 4 years or 3 years, it's been these gigantic revisions, and it was every month, if you recall. Trump fired that guy, and they put somebody else there to hopefully make it better, and to have more accurate numbers. So a lot of people are saying don't trust these numbers that we have today, because you'll see massive revisions. Hopefully the new guy that's in now is going to be more accurate than the last guy. The reason why Trump fired that guy is because the revisions were so huge that people couldn't trust the Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers. So I think these may be more accurate than they have been in the past, but it's kind of a wait and see. No one really knows for sure. The one thing we do know is that with the current Fed chairman, 130,000 jobs added is going to scare him to death, because he's immediately going to think, well, inflation is coming. So the chance of a rate drop is almost zero for two reasons. One is the Fed chair knows that Trump's new guy is going to go after some rate drops more than he would, and so he may not do it for that reason. But the number two reason is that these jobs numbers coming in way better than expected. They're double what they anticipated. So, and normally we don't cover jobs numbers because it's kind of like it's an also ran in the econ stuff that we usually cover, but I thought it was important to at least mention it for two reasons. One, let's see if it stays there, if the Bureau of Labor Statistics has done a better job of delivering that data, or if there's a revision next week or next month. Let's see what that revision is. And number two, how will this impact the propensity for the Fed to lower the rates? He's going to be more apt to keep them higher. So, and the basic reason for that is old school policy, basically. If you've never researched the Phillips curve, you should. That's where this theory comes from, where if jobs are doing well, you need to keep rates higher. It's how the Fed has tended to operate. He's just less, he's less speedy now than he was previously for those policies. So, but here's the monthly job creation in the US. In 2022, we had this huge jump, obviously, because people are coming back from COVID. And then here it is in 2025 and 2026. So markets rose following the news, and then they're down today. It says markets rose, but they're not. They're down right now. So, and they're down right now because people think that because of that news, the Fed's not going to lower rates. I'm going to put in the, Zillow's been in the headlines a lot. I'm going to put in the description a article about Zillow, but it's just a video y'all can watch. I'm not going to cover it. It's Waxman talking about why their shares dipped. And he says a little bit about housing and such, but he's kind of talking about the affordability problem. What I want to go to and spend a little more time on is the affordability bill. So what you need to know about the House's new affordability bill. The act is a 138-page bill aimed at improving housing affordability by streamlining zoning and permitting. So it's the deregulation. Encouraging upzoning to increase housing density, expanding access to development block grants, and increasing the use of manufactured housing. That's interesting. And improving financing options for home buyers. The major issue that a lot of people have with the mobile homes, manufactured housing, is that it's hard to get a loan for the mobile home once you go to sell it after it's been owned a while. I was just visiting with an investor yesterday on the phone, and they had a 2-acre lot. They had a mobile home on there, but it was over 20 years old. And I said, basically, your buyer's going to have to bring cash. Like, there's not, in our area, there's just no one that wants to give a loan on that. So if they could, to me, it always comes up comes back to the access of money. Whenever they make it easier for banks to lend on alternative materials or manufactured housing or tiny housing and things like that, that's when you see those markets start to open up. If lenders still are restricted on the alternative materials, I mean, you can try to increase the manufactured housing all you want, but if people can't get that secondary mortgage, it's not a good deal for people to buy it. Ironically, it is bipartisan bill. Representative French Hill from Arkansas and Maxine Waters, Democrat California, is sponsoring the bill. When there aren't enough homes, prices go up. Hill wrote in February 6 op-ed, the Housing for the 21st Century Act includes real bipartisan solutions that boost development by clearing out red tape and letting communities and local banks do their job. That's how we expand supply and lower costs and give families more options. So the bill's got to pass the Senate. It's got 4 main parts: build smarter for the 21st century, modernize local development and rural housing programs, expand manufactured and affordable housing finance. He said, I'm going to read this because we just talked about it. This section focuses on expanding access to manufactured housing through a series of financial and regulatory overhauls. However, the main proposal focuses on establishing federal housing administrative pilot program for small dollar mortgages to help home buyers access financing for homes priced at $100,000 or less. That's pretty good. Protecting borrowers and assisted families, and then enhancing oversight of housing providers. So that would be good to get rid of some fraud. There's more on this on Broke Agent Media. You can go read that article if you'd rather. And then Byron Lazine has a breakdown of it. And then they have, kind of in their own words, the same 5 parts that we talked about. The National Association of Realtors magazine that we no longer get anymore via print. They also had an article on it. Bipartisan housing bill passes the House of Representatives. So if this is something you want to do, there's a link. So you could go to ner.realtor and you can look at their news articles, and they have a link for the Housing for the 21st Century Act. Actually, I'm just going to add this to my rundown. Here's what the bill is. You can read it, or you could just put it into AI and ask AI to read it. I'm going to copy it and put it in my rundown, and I will have it in the description for those of you who are interested. So I will add that as well. Where is it? Let me find that rundown. Well, I don't want to miss it, you know. Okay, there it is. So I've added that to the rundown. It'll be in the description for those watching the replay, and you can download the PDF right from YouTube. So if you support it, be sure to call your senator, let them know. I mean, getting rid of the red tape is always going to be helpful. FHA mortgage demand rises as borrowers face affordability challenges. Mortgage rates for conventional loans didn't budge last week. Total mortgage application volume increased 0.3% for the week compared with the previous week. Let's see, applications to refi a home rose 1%. Applications to purchase fell 2% and were just 4% higher year over year. So it was higher year over year. You know, it may have fallen for some of the weather around the nation. I know some of you guys over on the East Coast were getting some snow in the last couple of days. So anytime you have a huge part of the country that's getting hit with bad weather, you're going to see some decreases in mortgage applications overall. Another concerning stat is that credit card debt tops 1.28 trillion. They say it's consistent with the K-shaped economic divide. Collectively, where is it up here? Oh, collectively, Americans now own 1.28 trillion on their credit cards. However, despite the overall increase, there's a growing divide among consumers. The longer this persists, the more the gap widens. So, so if you're thinking about buying a home and you do have credit card debt, please talk to your lender before paying it off. I just had a lender yesterday in a deal that we have now under contract. And they said the buyer was asking them like, hey, I guess we should pay this off first. And the lender was like, no, don't do that, because the type of loan they were looking at, you have to have a certain amount of cash reserves. So talk to your lender before you pay off your debt if you're thinking about buying a house. If you're not thinking about buying your house, try to get out of debt. I know some of you hate Dave Ramsey, but you have to agree that debt on a credit card is not necessarily a good thing. It's unsecured and high interest a lot of times. So I know, yes, you can get the points, but that means you're not carrying the debt. You're just using it to spend. So be careful. Oh, I have this article in there twice. Okay. If you get the debt down, then your affordability will improve. It is improving. Buyers must earn $111,000 to afford the typical home. That's down 4% from last year. Here's the chart. So affordability for a home is improving. In December of 2024, it was $115,000. In December of 2025, it's $111,000. So hopefully that'll continue to go down. That's pretty good. The income needed to buy a home has been declining since November, providing some much needed relief for U.S. home buyers. Before that, the income needed to afford a home had been rising on a year-over-year basis for nearly every month for 5 years straight. Wow. Since the pandy, home buying boom drove up home sale prices. The income needed to buy a home peaked at over $122,000 this past June. Look at what it was back in 2020, 2021. You're looking at 64,000. And now it's 111,000. It's still double what it was pre-pandy. That's wild. That's really high. And I know what you're thinking. Well, I guess there's going to be a whole bunch of people that rent. Well, actually, rent also went up. Homebuyers need to earn only $35,000 more than renters to afford monthly payments. So here's that. Homebuyers must earn $35K more than renters to afford housing. But that gap is shrinking now that this number's come down. So rents have also risen steadily, just not as high. In December, it takes $76,020 in income to rent. Wow. So there you go. Only quote unquote 35,000 more. So what's your mood for housing? This says that buyers are cautious, sellers are showing up, and agents see signs of a busier spring ahead. Buyers are cautious, sellers are showing up, and agents see signs of a busier spring. Do you guys see signs of a busier spring? Let me go to the chat. Oh, sorry. I missed a couple of your comments. I did not see. What's up, Andy? And it said, yo, weather. Yeah, weather lull. What's happening in y'all's markets? Y'all chime in, drop it in the comments. Is this what you feel is the vibe? Buyers are cautious, sellers are showing up, and agents are seeing signs of a busier spring ahead. We are seeing an uptick in the amount of business we have right now. We have more under contract right now at one time than we had at any time last year at one time. So, yes, I think it has ticked up for sure. There's a lot more buyers in the market here. Homes are selling at their slowest pace in 6 years, and pending sales are down. Would-be buyers are hesitant, partly due to high costs. Good news, costs are slowly coming down. More sellers are listing their homes, and Redfin agents forecast modest housing market recovery. So this would be a good ad to put behind you on social media and to point and talk about, pending sales are down, and yet buyers are hesitant, partly to cost, but costs are coming down. You don't want to be last. You don't want to be the last buyer to jump in because then prices are stupid high. Then there are places like Austin, Texas, which I sent a message to Shannon Mengen earlier and said, hey, woe is you. Austin, Texas, once among the nation's hottest housing markets, is now the slowest. And she said that they're working with a lot of buyers right now and they're getting great deals. There's always one side of the market, right? So if it is more of a buyer's market, then you can service buyers and help them to find a home. If it's more of a seller's market, you can service more sellers. So they're helping a lot of buyers find really great properties. The typical home went under contract in Austin after spending a record 106 days on the market compared with 60 days nationwide. A decade ago, Austin was one of the fastest markets. I feel like a lot of people moved from California to Austin thinking it would be another like mini Cali. And then they realized, oh wait, this is still Texas. And now they're like hopping out of there. Jack Ettridge said 3 feet of snow is slowing the inventory, but 3 deals so far off market shows interest on both sides. But you guys are pretty used to, despite your picture of fun in the sun, you guys are pretty used to doing deals in the snow, right? I mean, a lot of my northern friends, it's just part of it.
Yeah, we've had a little bit more this year. Sort of, it all started in the beginning of end of January, beginning of February. So it's been pretty condensed, but it's always, weather is always a harbinger of what we're going to see for when the spring market gets here.
What's the average days on market in your area now?
I mean, I only have 9 listings in my town of 10,000 properties. So,
wow,
pretty quick.
Wow.
Or I shouldn't say pretty quick. The 9 that are sitting around are sort of the scraps.
Yeah.
Wait, Jack, you have 9 listings, or there's only 9 listings?
There's only 9 listings
okay.
in my town.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Okay, Dan.
There's like 9 in my neighborhood right now.
Yeah, for real.
Well, I did 42 units within 5 square miles last year.
Wow.
So yeah. It's a pretty unique. I'm a bit of a unicorn in the world of traveling to sell a house.
In more than one way.
Yeah, for real.
I noticed the pause there. I was like,
yeah,
big time unicorn.
Bit of a unicorn.
Here in Atlanta in 2021, we had I think it was 300,000 was the average. No, hold on. 1 second. Let me pull it back up here. We have 3 times the inventory than we did from 2021. January of 21 to January of 26. So 5 years, 3x the inventory, which feels about right just in driving around. If you're looking at, a couple different neighborhoods around my area, you might have seen 3 or 4 properties over the course of the last 12 months. Now there's 10 on the market right now.
Yeah.
So interesting move for sure.
Hey, Matt, do you have 300,000 listings, or is that just in the market?
Yeah. I have 300,000.
How do you think he buys all those Porsches, man?
Yeah, that's right. I've got a unicorn.
Bit of a unicorn.
Right on our wall.
That's hilarious. All right, so there's the picture of Austin. It's got some cool graphs you guys can look at over on Redfin. Austin, this is an interesting stat
Looks
that you guys are talking about. It does look. It does kind of look like an EKG. Austin has more than twice as many sellers as buyers. That's great. If you're looking for a deal, that's where you want to go. In the last 2 articles, new survey shows 94% of buyers will delay or downsize if rates don't fall. The downsize is interesting to me because that means they'll sell the big house that they're in. Clever Real Estate found that 94% of 2026 homebuyers will change their plans if mortgage rates don't fall below 6%, with 64% saying that they would only accept a rate under that threshold. Nearly 2/3 of buyers have already delayed purchasing because of high rates, while 58% say that current borrowing costs make home ownership unattainable. Despite the forecast pointing to flat mortgage rates in the low to mid 6% range, 42% of buyers still expect an average of 2026 rates to fall under 5%. That's fall under 5%. 42% of buyers think it'll fall under 5%. No way.
That's their real estate agent telling them.
20% would only buy if rates return below 4%. What? Who's telling people this?
They're never going to buy a house. Keep holding your breath. That's not going to happen.
Only 10% say today's good. 6 to 7% is good. What's up, Cindy?
Good afternoon. I can hop in on Salt Lake City in the Salt Lake County. So it's very interesting. Our price is steadily going up, and our inventory, our sales are steadily going down. And so they had this big thing. Oh, inventory's up more than the last 8 years, the highest right now. Well, that's because it ran a really tight between 1,500 and 1,800 all last year and the half of the year before that. So now we got 200 extra homes for sale, and they make it this lasting headline. And also, much to my surprise, because we haven't usually had expireds.
Oh,
those
yeah.
and withdrawals are on the rise. So I've been diving in and looking at those and kind of a few different approaches. So there has been some success with a handful of agents. I don't know any more than that. That's why I'm only saying a handful, because of course I don't know all 7,000 of our agents.
Wow.
And by the way, we have 10,000 actives in the state of Utah, and just shy of 2,100 actives in Salt Lake County. Now, Park City's a different animal. We got a median sales price up there of 3.6 in the single family.
Median sales price of 3.6. This is what I was talking about the rainbow thing, right? And Redfin giving away $1 million house. Well,
yeah.
$1 million house up there is like nothing.
Yeah. And then we won't even go into the values of the land, which I've sold a lot of land in Park City.
Wow.
But it's been also a very depressing winter for many out here. Many being who? Restaurants, hotels, resorts, all these people, because this is the worst in 45 years of snow that we've had. Now
wait. Hang on, Cindy. You have to define worse snow for people that are not in your area. By saying it's been the worst snow, that means that there hasn't been snow. So in my area, if you say it's the worst snow, that means we have way too much of it.
Okay, yes, all right. Well, so I'll just back up. Thank you, Ray. Yeah. I'll back up 2 years. 2 years ago, we had 903 inches, which is 75 feet, 95 feet. I can't remember, 75 or 95 feet of snow. That did a really good job on our drought and filling up our Great Salt Lake, which is a very big problem for us here. Now, I will note that this side of the mountains and the backside's where Park City is. And they have just been suffering. I mean, it's sad up there.
Because they're not getting enough snow.
Because they never get the kind of amount of snow that we get over here. Like, we're getting 16 inches right now as we speak on this side, but we haven't had any. So that's only going to add to our 143 inches. Now, last year we had close to 600. We usually average 580, 600, 650 every year, but we had that big dump, and which, that's where skiing's a multi-billion-dollar business here.
Yeah.
And so now here we're coming up to next weekend, the biggest ski weekend of the year, which is President's Day. Oh, and then we have another little. And so they come from all around the world to come ski here for President's Day. We had another situation which tells you how bad it was. And I don't want to talk too long, so you just let me know if I need to get going. But every year, the World Cup for the freestyle, championships has been held at Deer Valley for decades. Okay. First year, this year, they had to cancel it and move it dude. Do you know how much money that brings into our economy? And then we had our Sundance, and which I'll close on, which is really super sad. So a lot of the locals up there, and I lived in Deer Valley for 2 years, right up on the hill. So I have much roots, do a lot of my business up there. But in any event, Sundance, Robert Redford, legend. Since the 70s, we've been doing 70s, 80s, he started the festival. Well, they can been complaining there's no parking and everything's congested and yada bada boo, can't get into a restaurant.
Yada bada. Mm-hmm.
Okay, they got it moved right over to Boulder.
Oh.
So we're losing Sundance.
So I've been to Park City and I enjoyed it, but they did not have, the year I went, that much snow, and everyone previously had talked about how great the snow was.
Mhm.
And it was not a good year for me. Matt said he went to Salt Lake. It wasn't too hot.
No.
Misha
No,
said they had 2 inches in the middle of Georgia and it was horrendous.
oh yeah, like in
to be a
emergency.
small city. So,
Emergency.
well, I mean, you're kind of bringing
oh,
up a good point that goes into kind of this next article, but there has been a shift. And if you look real closely to what happened through COVID and the pandy and all that kind of stuff, there are some leftover companies that are still struggling, and there's some leftover commercial units that are still struggling. And it was a
Oh.
huge topic of conversation. Jack, I don't know if you remember this, but we talked about people that may not be returning to work and what would happen to those office buildings, and how that would start to shake out. Well, it is currently shaking out. So it kind of goes into this. Let me display this next article here. Here it is. Delinquencies in commercial mortgage-backed securities are on the rise. Here's what's happening. So delinquencies on commercial-backed securities rose up in January. They're up 17 basis points from December, 7.47%, according to TREP, TREPP. The increase was driven by the beleaguered office sector, which has a lot of distressed properties to work through, but is seeing improvements in fundamentals. The rate increase was driven by 2 exceptionally large New York City properties, Worldwide Plaza and One New York Plaza. So I'm wondering, I know there's a lot of stuff happening in the world. And I'm just curious how many of you guys have been looking at office spaces or have commercial properties listed. I'm not seeing a giant movement in the purchases portion of the commercial sector, but there's also the vacation homes. We talked about that before and what's happening with the Airbnbs around the country. Some neighborhoods are cracking down on those and just not letting them. So people are putting those back up for sale, and it's hurting those very neighborhoods that were trying to maintain their values, because you have more of the vacation homes going up for sale because they can't rent them out like they used to. And then you also, I think 2025 was one of the worst years for short-term rentals in the history of Airbnb, VRBO, short-term rentals. So keep an eye out on both vacation rentals, vacation homes, and commercial properties, because I think there could be a play there in the future. And if you are a real estate agent, you're working with investors, they're really down. There was a place I was going to rent, I guess it was last year, and I really wanted to do it. I couldn't do it. It just didn't work out. It wasn't going to be the right fit for us, but I started the discussion at $20 a foot, and it was just a small little office, kind of in a strip center type place. And we basically ended the discussion around $15 a foot. And it still was not going to work, because the amount of money I'd have to put into the building to make it what I want it was not good for what we were wanting to do. But I'm seeing a bunch of commercial properties in our area that you can get really good rental rates on, because they're just empty. So Jack, I think, what's up, Cindy?
So one thing about those commercial buildings, what I'm seeing a lot of is they're turning into these, like rent a temporary office or mixed. There you go. Like you come in and everybody works in the same place, so you can rent an office or not.
Yeah.
They're called can't remember what, not WeWork, but those are really, they're popping up everywhere.
Now we had some of those, but they did not, the shared workspaces and stuff were not, they did not work out that well. So there's only a couple of them that kind of survived through the pandy. So we'll see what happens. Jack, I did want to ask you though, because I think if you're still here, I know you remember the oh no, are you here? Are you here, Jack? Yeah, he is. Okay, good. I know you remember the discussion we had a while back, and I think you were saying that there were some pretty big units near you that were trying to figure out what to do. Do you have an update on that? Has there been a change, or did they go residential like what Cindy was saying?
Yeah, there's a pretty big incentive in Boston of there's a conversion program. I don't know how big it is, but they're allowing developers to have 29-year, 75% residential tax abatements.
Wow.
And they're getting a lot of, 190,000 square feet, 202,000 square feet projects. So yes, it's a big thing.
Wow. Well, there you go. We'll keep an eye on it. Thanks for joining the show, guys. That's pretty much all I have this week. It was a lot of econ, not very much tea. But I want to know who won the $1 million house and where it is. Now, is the $1 million house that people zeroed in on, was that the house people won? Because if so, that means like 179,000 people know where the house is that this person won. So surely they didn't win that house. But it's a clever ploy maybe to help Redfin agents get some additional views on their listings, right? What if it was for that?
Is the grumpy guy looking at you on the other side of the driveway?
Yeah, like you're the reason why all these people showed up in my house.
Right.
No, I was just thinking about that. Like, if they won the house, but everyone knows where that is, that's kind of weird. So I'm assuming that they want a different house that will not be disclosed, and they won't disclose the person's address. But we'll see. I would at least like to see a picture of the house, so we know. Is it like my thumbnail? Are the houses actually like my thumbnail, where it's just kind of a disheveled, small place in a really popular area? Or is it like a really,
it's
what if it's a mansion in
Breaking Bad
Arkansas,
house.
right? It could be a mansion in Arkansas, because $1 million can get you a spread here. Anyway, thanks for joining the show, guys. If you've listened to this whole show and you absolutely hate it, maybe you're listening to the replay, don't forget to join live. Hit that bell so that you can be alerted of whenever we go live, because there's no better way to hate it than to hate it live. And you can also follow me at Instagram. That's Ray Zorback, RayZorback. So send me your thoughts there, opinions. I'd love to know if you actually listen to the show. So thanks, guys, for joining, and I will see y'all next